Good morning and welcome to Mayor's Weekly. As always, we're pleased to have you with us, and something that we promised some time ago, the projects that we have going on in the city, that we'll bring you updates and what we see down the road. And the last segment of this program was focusing on City Hall, and there'll be more updates on that. Another part of our 4-point plan was here's a major paving project. We're moving closer to the end of that, and been an extensive amount of work take place across the city. I underscore across this city in 2024. Short stretches of roads, streets, alleyways, that sort of thing. That's just the makeup of our city. And I asked Brent McCarver to join me this morning. Brent has been instrumental in coordinating the bids for our paving and working with our engineering firm to make sure we've identified the streets that are in the most need of attention. And so as we move toward the end of summer, that project is winding down. We try to start as early as we can in spring, but weather always gets in the way. But we had plenty of hot, dry days, which is ideal for paving. And Brent, you could probably talk till sunset about all that's going on, but have an overview of what we've done in 2024, and then we'll talk a little bit about 2025.
Well, we're the current project we've got going on, part of the original $5 million infrastructure plan, is basically complete. We have 2 alleys in downtown that will be left to pave, but the actual streets that are heavily used by our citizens are all completed. We'll get our final inspections done on those, and then wrap back around, see where we are, because we do plan in the fall to look at a final third phase of that big project. And so we've completed this time around a little over 12 miles, if you had it linear, of paving. And you hit the nail on the head. The first paving was real obvious. We did big roads, 9th Avenue, big visible ways. This second brought in more what you would call on the outskirts, more within subdivisions, 100 feet here, 200 feet there, roads that really needed some restructure work. And so the city has significantly improved all the way from one end of the city limits to the other with these 2 phases. But we're completed. As far as that goes, like I said, other than two alleys here in downtown that the city's responsible for, and then striping. The striping portion of it will be transparent. There's 2 companies in the entire state that do highway and roadway striping professionally, and as you can imagine, they're busy, and so that's one thing I know the citizens notice, and they do talk about. We just have to get in line with striping with the state and everybody else. And so we hope to have, I talked with our folks at Sane Engineering, hoping to get the striping back probably mid-August to September, and they'll come back and try to stripe this stuff. But other than that, we're completed on the actual paving on that part.
Well, Brent, what we know in this phase, probably the majority of the work, and I'm pleased about this, was done in District 4 and District 5.
Yes, significantly. If you put them in order, 5 had the most work, 4 very close behind them. And again, that's where I said this particular part of the overall project took place in heavily residential areas. A lot of that in West Jasper to South Jasper, where you have a lot of subdivisions, this time was real interesting. A lot of your cul-de-sacs or dead-end roads that we hadn't done in the past. We were able to get to those. Some of those people had said hadn't been done in 25, 30 years. And the reason is because if you have a dead end road with 2 or 3 houses, you're not getting the type of traffic, but it still needs some work every now and then. So we were able to get a lot of those type roadways done.
Brent, you told me just days ago that out working, you talking to a lady, and we had paved in front of her house, and she's been there maybe her entire life.
Yep.
And how long has it been since?
She said it was over 30 years that she
Over
knew
30
that
years.
there had never been any work done other than shoveling a little coal mix in a pothole. So she was very excited. Yeah.
30
And-
years. That's
And you
long.
know, some of those, I'll be honest, is I've been out riding around, you don't really even know some of these roads are there if you don't travel them. So it's been a good project.
Well, Brent, what that tells me is that we, on our paving project, in so many cases, we didn't start at a zero baseline. We started in the hole,
No
didn't
question, no question. And a lot of these in this second project had to have, you know, some significant, once we got out there, milling, dig up, reconstruction of the road bed. Even if it was 300 feet of pavement, it still had to have a lot of work done for drainage. We had a lot of this time around work on what I'd call the shoulder or the side road, ditches around, things like that. So a lot of good structural work done too.
Brent, that causes me to touch on something else, and we've talked about here, the quality of the work we're doing. And I look at case in point. I keep my fingers crossed, and I don't think that I really have to do that. 9th Avenue's fixed.
It is.
It had not been fixed. It had been patched, Band-Aids, and fixed today and back to the same problem tomorrow.
Right.
But it looks, and as I drive across the city where we've paved and whatever, it looks like paving work, thanks to our engineering firm, laying the groundwork, a plan, and close scrutiny as we pave has made a difference in the quality.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I've learned in this process, there is actually a difference in paving and resurfacing.
Yeah.
And what has been done, and sometimes because of necessity out of finances or whatever, what's been done for many years in the past is a lot of resurfacing, a lot of just laying another thin layer over the top of the already problem. Both the first and then finishing this second project, these have been actual paving projects. We've taken them down to the original road bed. They've been restructured, as we said, where they need to be. And this is, 7 to 10, which is what they hope, possibly more years of life span on this type paving. This is an actual structural paving job. So it's been that way all over the city.
Well, Brent, doing the work like that, and I understand time adjusted. Somewhere down the road, those streets will have to be dealt with again.
Sure.
But the work that's done today is going to make that job easier.
Right.
And again, I say time adjusted, less costly.
Exactly.
You hadn't got
No
to
question.
do all of that all the way down to
Right, and one of the things about it that we're in a great position for now, the work we did, say, the first project going on 6-7 years ago, financially, the city, the council, and y'all have done a good job to where it may be time to circle back to some of that first work again, but that's where you do the resurfacing, the micro surfacing that is not very expensive, and it adds to the life, just like your home or anything else. Your preventative maintenance now is much cheaper than coming in and repaving, and we should be in that boat all over the city for the next probably 20 years. So that's a good thing.
Well, Brent, where do we go from here? And you probably haven't had time to think through that in total, but what's our thinking, planning? And I know there's folks out there my street in front of my house needs to
Right.
be paved, whatever. And sometimes those thoughts are accurate, sometimes they're not accurate, but that's okay. I mean, people
Sure.
are in time. So what do we do from here?
Well, what we'll do, we'll sit down, of course, as we have in the past with Sane and their traffic engineering division, and we'll have them resurvey the city again, probably, early fall. And we'll look at this time, we have talked a little bit, as I just mentioned, there may be some of the original paving streets downtown or out toward the highway, may need some touch-up work, may need some micro surfacing, different things like that. Most of the what we call trafficked roadways in the city have been done now and completed, so we would be looking more at maintenance and repair in this final project. There could be, for example, we're looking at, matter of fact, I'll get this to you and Kathy hopefully next week, where we're going to need some things such as, it's not as glamorous, where we're putting in some water piping, maybe tear down a section of road and redo some stuff to help with drainage, and not so much just paving, but fixing areas where we have stormwater issues and different things like that. Railroad crossings where we work with the railroad company, maybe we need to look at some of those things. So it'll be more of a finish up type project there, and again, we'll get the final numbers, but it'll hover right around another $1 million project, and that'll top off the whole $5 million deal.
Okay. Well, Brent, we'll wrap up on this. I know people are interested, and by nature of where I live, I see the what we'll call the 9th Avenue Bridge on a regular basis, and that's looking nicely. I see milling going on there, which I know that State Highway Department's getting ready for paving, that sort of thing. I think maybe you talked in recent days about that.
I have most update that I have, and I'm actually waiting on the engineering department in Fayette to get back with us. They're pretty standoffish on giving us any timelines, but best I can say is this: it was originally started as an 18-month project. We're well under that.
Yeah.
They did an excellent job. The company that worked with the bridge itself. The bridge itself is completed. What's left will be the tie-in paving for the ramps, and then the connectors, I guess you'd say, on either side, and then of course the traffic signal. So that's part of what they're doing now, is getting the infrastructure in for the traffic signal. But I do know this: they won't open the bridge until they've completed the work up at the split of 5-195.
Yeah, looks like work is kind of tapered off there. I don't know.
I think two things happened there. I think they were trying more or less to stay on a schedule, but then the rain started. So once I think they left and did some other work somewhere else, and then when they were planning to come back, we've had rain since then. But yeah, they'll open that whole area at one time, and if you look at it from a bird's eye view logically, if they open the bridge now, they're just going to back traffic up there at the intersection. So it does make sense to wait, but I think we'll come, we'll be 4 to 6 months short of that 18-month for sure. So don't have any plans or dates yet from the ALDOT, but as soon as we do, we'll let everybody know.
Right, and important to remind you that every call in regard to that project rests with Alabama Department of Transportation and not the city of Jasper. I know it's worked some inconveniences on folks, but I think that's getting better. And then when this thing is all wrapped up, you're going to have a safer, more user-friendly stretch of roadway there. And of course, up at the Y5 and 195, that's I've always thought was a hazardous area, and that's going to be corrected.
That will be much better. Again, I'm not really good at looking at paper and then looking at the dirt and making it, but it's going to be a significant improvement over the stop and go, and is it my turn or whose turn is it? So that's going to be much better up there too.
Yeah. And so what we'll do, we'll take a close look at what we've completed here in calendar year 2024, and then devise a plan for 2025. What that plan will look like, be premature to say, would it not?
Right now it would be, yes.
Right. But as soon as we know that, we'll share it with you. But Brent, I know this, and the last 7 years or so, we've covered a lot of area with upgraded paving in the city.
And we're working, getting, one of the things before we do our plan in the fall, we're gonna get a little totaled up area of what's been done. You know, we'll know what's been spent, how much surface area has been covered, the work that's been done, and be able to update everybody, probably again toward mid-fall, on what's happened over the last 7 years. But yeah, it's significant amount of mileage has been worked on.
And another thing that I will commend our public works staff paying attention to our streets, and potholes happen.
Sure.
It gets cold, it gets hot, it rains, that sort of thing. Yeah. And doing the right patch work, and that prolongs the life of the road. Right. And makes it not nearly as challenging on the automobile to travel over.
Yeah, there's a lot of land within this 27 square miles of city, and those men and women do an excellent job every day. They get out at 6 in the morning, rain or shine, and Billy and Russ do a good job of coordinating. And I know it gets frustrating. You think I called in 2 weeks ago, why hadn't this been done? But you know, keep in mind there's roughly 8,000 structures in 27 square miles of city. There's a lot of grass to cut, a lot of potholes to fill, a lot of ditches to clean out, and they work very hard every day. Garbage cans to empty, and so we're getting to it. You keep calling us, we'll stay on top of it, and they work hard to do it.
Well, and people don't have a basis for knowing this, but this is you have to be on the ground here and see it. But this is a big operation.
Yes.
You know, when you have over 200 employees, and I forget how many vehicles we deploy every day, and maintenance, police, fire, public works, solid waste, that sort of thing. It's I guess the best way to put it in perspective, we spend about $36 million a year doing it.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, and you get a good thought about it is it's just like your house. You plan on weed eating on Saturday. You get out there and your weed eater doesn't act right. You have to spend an hour working on your weed eater to get it running. These guys and ladies deal with that. You know, the lawnmower doesn't work right every time. The truck stops running. A belt slips off here or there. So it's not just I get up and go cut grass in the morning. There's all the existential stuff to it too. So they do a great job.
And, and we have a considerable amount of what I call specialized equipment. Mm-hmm. One of them breaks. I mean, if your lawnmower breaks, if you choose to, you can go to the store and buy a new lawnmower.
Right, sure.
But some of our specialized equipment, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And it involves a lot of money.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Good. Well, we hope that you find this update to be beneficial as we develop a plan and get it in place for calendar year. And I like to speak about calendar year when paving, because that's kind of how we look at it because of the seasons and that sort of thing. But we'll roll out the plan for calendar year 2025 and the things that we plan to work on. But if you have questions, please let us hear from you.